Never been more ready in my life. Sun's out, guns out. What's fucking going on, Beverage Hunters?
Guys, welcome to season 4 Behind the Brew. Today's going to be a fun episode. Can't wait to do this. Right here in our hometown,
Roseburg, Oregon. You guys are going to notice really fast in this. I mean, obviously, this is a coffee roasting business, so it's a little different than anything we've done on Behind the Brew before, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Also, you guys know, some of you know, how much I like to nerd out on certain things, and Nick nerds the fuck out on this episode.
He does, guys.
I go hard in the paint. I ask all the questions. We get all the answers.
But this is a great episode. I can't wait for you guys to watch it.
He's great on camera, great at answering questions. Very, very passionate individual, which we love to see. Makes everything, it's just such a different perspective. It changes your thought about the product, the drink, everything. Super cool setup we got going on here.
This is awesome, guys. So subscribe, like, let us know if you've tried any of Carter's coffee. And if you haven't, go grab some real quick. Pause it. All right, come back, sit down, and enjoy the rest of the show.
If you like cold brew, I mean, all his stuff, we tried like dark, Justin likes dark roast stuff. So we did some dark roast, like traditional hot pour over coffee. That stuff's pretty good. But if you're a cold brew guy, this is one of the best cold brews I've ever had in my life. I like cold things. I like cold coffee. Fantastic.
Yeah. So we're going to go in the story behind the brew of Carter's Coffee right here in Roseburg, Oregon. Nick, let's go grab coffee.
Let's do it. This smells fantastic.
Ready to start the day.
A little hot. Whoa. Definitely dark. It's not bitter at all.
All right, guys, welcome to the story behind the brew. This is episode 2 in our 4th season, and we get to do something a little different today. We're at a coffee roaster. And Zach, thanks for joining us. And we're going to get to talk all things coffee today. I'm excited. Me and Nick both love coffee. Dave's not here today, but he's also a big coffee snob. But it's going to be really cool to learn the ins and outs of coffee and roasting it and all that jazz.
Heck yeah.
Before we get to that, Zach, let's go ahead and get to know you a little bit. Where did you grow up, and what got you into the coffee world?
Yeah, so I've moved around everywhere. Born and raised here in Roseburg.
Right up.
Just kidding. I've literally lived here my entire life, school and everything. Love it here. Growing up, I didn't, but I mean, now that I'm older, I absolutely love it here. It's beautiful. I love the community I have around me and everything like that. But when it comes to coffee, I like you asked earlier off camera, like coffee is not actually in my family history. I mean, yeah, my dad drank a ton of coffee growing up. You know, Dutch Bros fans through and through. I think we were like some of the first adopters of that company, I swear. But so like I grew up, I loved the biggest, sugariest drinks you could possibly get. But when I got married, we moved into an apartment, and my landlord roasted his own coffee on like a little homemade roaster. And so he roasted me some, and he just did it for fun on the side. Didn't sell anything, but he roasted me some. So I took it home in my little drip machine, and I'm like, well, I've never had honest black coffee before. Of course, I've sipped it occasionally, but that's like just enjoying cough syrup. That's how it felt,
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I was blown away. I was like, these people are actually missing out. Like, I feel like there was an actual injustice to the coffee industry in our area in Douglas County, because if people knew this coffee existed, this type of drink, then everything would change. Like, that's how I felt. I worked for Papa Kurt Salsa here in Douglas County. I was his manager for years. And that's how we grew our company, is because no one really knew what really good salsa tasted like. Everyone else is used to salsas that have like vinegar and all this stuff in it to preserve it. But no one's had fresh, nice, really well-made salsa. That's how it felt. Again, that's how we grew the company. So I felt the same thing for coffee. I was like, that's awesome. This has to happen. So I spent years saving up and kind of got educated. Learned a lot, and eventually bought a little tiny roaster, and just started roasting for friends and family. And kind of right out of the gate, it wasn't even, I would say it wasn't really hard. In a way it was, but I bought every bag I could from the stores to compare, because I went like, I want to know who has the best coffee, because I want to do better than them. But like right away, whatever I did was better, which scared me, because I don't know why. I'm not trying to badmouth roasters. I think it's because of how long they sat on the shelf and all that jazz. That ended up translating to a bad cup of coffee. But just having it so fresh, even if you roast it poorly, having fresh coffee is a huge game changer. And then if you roast it really well, it's just that much better. Like when I started roasting, I didn't even know how to cup coffee. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, actually.
You don't? So
no, enlighten me.
Right. So in the roast, what are you doing? But I gotta go. No, just kidding. In the roasting world, the way you're supposed to kind of check your own coffee, because usually you're roasting so much at a time that you can't just sit there and like make cups of coffee to drink all day long. So what they're gonna do is we're gonna get little dishes, and we're gonna do kind of a small form. It's kind of like that French press technique I told you, similar to that, but in a little tiny bowl, or glass bowl or whatever. And we're just gonna do a bunch of them throughout your roast if you need to. If you're testing a new bean, or if you just want to see where you're at. And we're gonna brew coffee that way, and they're gonna sit, and they're gonna be pretty diluted. That way you can get some nice flavors. And you're just gonna slurp it. You've probably seen guys slurp the heck out of like a spoon. You just hard, and then they spit it out, right? And you're aerating it in your palate. You're really just trying to taste the beans. And before I knew how to taste coffee correctly, all I knew was to drink it. I at home, like, to test my beans, I just used a cheap like Ninja coffee maker. And so my theory was, and it worked, if I could make coffee taste good in that thing, it would taste good in anything.
Right. That's a good way to look at it.
I got it dialed in that way. And then from there, I got more educated. I learned that brewing coffee is almost, I would argue, more important than roasting it. Because you can have a really good bean, but if you brew it wrong, it don't matter. And you can almost have a bad bean and help it by brewing it better, depending on what you want to do. And so that's kind of how I got into the coffee industry, and dove into that whole world that now is Carter's Coffee.
Well, very awesome, dude. And you guys are going to see more. You're going to get to see us roasting coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Trying some, talking a whole bunch of ins and outs. This is going to be a longer episode, but it's really cool to hear all this kind of stuff. Something that I've never gotten to actually get inside and like learn about. And it's just another beverage thing that we are trying to expand and learn more about everything. So this is really cool. Thank you again for all that. So do you have kids? Are you married?
Yeah, I am married to my beautiful wife, Haley. Hey, babe. She's going to watch this later. We got 3 kids. Got a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old just turned 2. And so, yeah, we're building a house. We're having so much fun.
Sick.
So, yeah, big family, a lot of fun, a lot of coffee.
Yeah, a lot of coffee. Gotta have coffee with kids.
Gotta.
I've got 4, so it's I understand.
They always try to mooch off of the cold brew that we make. They're always like, can I try a sip? We're like, no. My little one, that 2-year-old, whenever I grind coffee in the morning, he's just the right height to reach the counter. Okay. And so every morning, he gets out the coffee stuff for me. He reaches up and gets it out. and then he'll always want to pull the grinder tray that has the grinds in it to smell it. He just wants to smell it. It's hilarious. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, for me growing up, I would go to my grandma's house, and this is before my parents or myself drank coffee, but anytime we go up to Washington to my grandma's house, she always had coffee brewing, and I just remember walking in the house and having that smell of fresh coffee in the morning. Yeah. And that's where my love for coffee started, was when I was just a little kid and I could just smell that every day. Yeah. And now, the older I've gotten, I went like you went from sweet coffee, I gotta have a ton of creamer, to I started drinking it just black, just straight coffee, and then I started finding all the flavors. I'm like, well, this is really cool. So now I love drinking just black coffee. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I started because my mom was like, I don't know how old I was, man. I had to have been like 6, maybe. And she gave me a cup of coffee with so much cream and sugar that I was like, this is the best thing ever. It all went downhill from there. But
nice. So do you watch a lot of, like, you mentioned it before, but watch a lot of coffee YouTubers and stuff? Who's your favorite one?
Yeah, definitely James Hoffman. He's kind of hilarious because he's so much of a coffee nerd, as I would classify it, that I don't even know if I could describe how nerdy he gets into coffee. It's entertaining to watch someone break down on a NASA level how to brew a stupid cup of coffee. Because at the end of the day, it's just coffee, and he says the same thing. But like, it's so entertaining to see him break it down. And the cool part is he's just so nerdy. I mean, he's won some barista world championships, so he's a ton of fun to watch and get educated on. He's my favorite too because he's super knowledgeable of like every aspect of coffee. Because he actually owns a roastery, he keeps that on the down low. But like, I've learned so much on how to brew like coffee and the fundamentals of why you brew it this way. Like, why would I do this? Why would I do that? And I know there's a ton of other YouTubers out there that probably are even better than him, but honestly, he's the only one I really grabbed onto. And this is a bit of the weird part of my story. When I got into roasting, I did not want to learn anything about it. Because as soon as I figured out that not only is this kind of an artistic thing, it's all up to my palate. And then I knew that, like, if I can just learn how roasting works, like the fundamentals of like, that's what this does, and this part of the roast does this, and at this time this happens, like, then I'm going to figure out how to dial it in for myself. I don't want to go and find someone that roasted a bean online and copy what they did and say, look what I did. Right. You know what I mean? And so I spent a long time and a lot of intentionality never researching anything about coffee. And like, you'll hear more about it later because we'd already talked about it. A lot. But too much. But, all the way until I bought my biggest roaster and talked to that company, I had no idea if anything I was doing was actually correct.
And like you told us before, it's kind of, everyone's got their own way of doing it, and it's up to you. Like you kind of mentioned, there's really no right or wrong way. Whatever you like and however you like your coffee, that's the right way. Guys, I'm excited to learn some more about coffee, so like, subscribe, drink local, and it doesn't just have to deal with beer. It can be coffee. It can be a lot of different things, and we're going to keep expanding this show, so keep watching, stay tuned, and follow him on social media so you can go to some of the events, see if he's coming around your neck of the woods.
Heck yeah.
And stay tuned, guys. All right, let's go drink some coffee because it's time for coffee.
Heck yeah.
The precision.
1,000 grams every time. It's which something that was something I wish I would have listened to when I was told about it when I first started roasting, that there is such thing as loss. Like, this is 2.2 pounds, but 2 pounds comes out.
Okay.
It changed my price drastically when I learned that.
Yeah, I bet. Is that just weight from it losing moisture?
Yeah, literally. So I normally do like close to a minute, what they call soak. So the heater's not even on. It's gonna sit here and just absorb the temperature from the drum.
Okay.
But on the first roast, it's really cold. It takes a couple hours for the whole machine to really heat up. It's solid cast iron. This thing weighs over 1,000 pounds.
Jesus.
You wouldn't know it.
Is there, so because it's iron, is there like a temperature drop off? So say it tells you, hey, I'm at temp, whatever that temp is, 500 degrees, whatever, right? When you put, I mean, they're not cold,
Yeah.
but when you put like the room temp beans, does it pull your temp down and you got to get
You
it
literally
back
see
up?
it here. So that's what I'm recording. I roast, this is what they call like new age roasting. I didn't know that was a thing until I read up on it.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people do it, surprisingly. I'm roasting off a computer, obviously, with graphs, so I know exactly what's happening at what point. Of course, I have the temperatures and timers, but that only tells you part of the story. And I'll explain. So, for example, you were talking about that drop-off. That's what you see here.
Okay.
See, it was raising in temp right there, and I put the beans in here. Look what it did.
Yeah,
that
okay.
dropped it down like 200 degrees.
See, Nick knows things.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's super fucking
That should
cool.
be a t-shirt. Nick knows things. But
Hey, it's coming out soon.
and so we're gonna wait until it gets to what they call turning point, and then it'll hit its next phase. Turning point's when the green line, which is the bean
starts
temperature,
coming back.
yeah, it's gonna level out and come back up.
Okay.
The orange line is environmental temperature. I forget which probe that is on here.
It's like ambient temperature.
Yeah, it's inside the roaster, but not inside the drum.
Okay.
Because inside the drum, which I think it's actually like this probe right here, that's going to be the bean temperature, because it's actually touching the beans and measuring the
Like
temperature.
they're falling across it. Okay.
Yeah, and then this is the drum temperature, so that's the literal outside of the drum as it spins.
Okay.
All three of those lines, I look for certain measures. I've been roasting long enough, I could go a long time into what I look for on those. And they change throughout the day, because as heat, ambient heat, and everything
Sure, the
changes.
room gets warmer.
Yeah.
It's a little easier.
Right,
to
but
get
I'm
there.
always going to try to hit my markers. I always want to hit turning point close to 2 minutes, if not right on it, which 156 for the first roast, not bad. Green and yellow, that's when this guy comes into play here for funsies. That's when the moisture really starts to get pulled out of the bean. And the smell and the color of the bean drastically changes at that point. That's why they call it green and
So does
yellow.
this dissipate all that moisture through the exhaust system?
Yep. And actually, this is what the big black thing here is, the chaff collector. There's a lot of buildup happens in here. So the smoke is thick. It builds up. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it all is getting exhaust being pulled through here. These tubes here getting sucked out, pulled out over there, outside. And so,
Okay.
heck yeah. So, yeah, here in a little bit, what I'll do is, this is called a trier. You've probably seen them if you've ever seen a roaster before, but basically you get to pull out the beans, oops, and you spill them everywhere. And you smell it, you kind of get to see where you're at.
That's cool.
Part of roasting, I'm just gonna get those beans out of there when they fell. I hate you. There we go. Part of roasting to know where you're at in a bean that you don't know is you gotta smell it. Every bean's different. You also got based off color and smell.
And what are you smelling for? Like, what are you gaining knowledge-wise from like smelling it? Are you like, ooh, that's smelling too burnt too fast? That's
so
smelling...
here, I'm gonna push this out of the way. Come in closer. I'm gonna have you smell it here right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna hit a button to let I know we just hit yellow phase. This should smell like toast. Something like that.
Oh yeah, it's very oaty.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do a quick Odie smell.
Oh, yeah.
So that
good.
is dry phase. You just entered dry phase, because right before that, it smelled like green grass. That's a big change in smell. So that's one of the big markers that you begin to learn and know when you're roasting with a bean you don't know so much about. I've roasted this bean so much that I can just I can go off the numbers. I can't tell you the last time I used the trier.
Sure.
but I should use it more often.
Yeah, I've always been more of a doer, anyways. You know what I mean?
So that's
And
the
what's
green
this
yellowfish.
guy here?
So that is the most important line in my opinion. That's why I use computer roasting. So this is the rate of rise. So this is giving me a mathematical equation right here. It's telling me right now the bean is
20
rising.
degrees per minute.
Yep.
Okay.
And the goal is this line is going to come up and it's going to go smoothly down. Now, if you're roasting just off a timer and temperatures, that black line can literally do this.
Sure.
And that will literally create bitterness. It's just the recipe for disaster is that. And so that's why I have to roast with that. I've always roasted like that, even on my tiny machines, just to know what is the bean literally doing. And so what I'm starting to do now, because this isn't going down very much, I don't like that. So I'm turning down my gas a little bit, turning down the flames.
The heat down a little bit.
Yep. And making sure my fans are at the right temperature.
What do you have a specific? I mean, I'm sure it's being specific.
Yeah.
But like for these ones that you've been using a lot, do you have a goal of like what ratio you want for that?
For the rate of rise? Generally, I want to hit peak rate of rise of like, what did that hit at? Close to like 35, 40, I think, percent or degrees. I want to hit a peak of that and then just slowly have it decrease.
Just a nice gradual.
Yeah. It's a funny thing because if I tried to say, oh, I need it to be at this percent at this time, like you do have to do that for longer roasts. But for example, me just changing my heat, like let's say it's too hot, like I already changed my heat and you saw it dive down already.
Yeah.
You know? And I just got to be careful on so all I can really do is just kind of control the chaos. And my goal is I'm trying to roast according to what the bean wants to do. Right? I'm going to try to hit those markers because that's how you're going to get it to taste the best, is doing what the bean wants to do. Sure. I haven't had a lot of success trying to manipulate a bean to make
it's just input control, reading what it's doing on its own.
And I'm trying to hit certain markers, like green and yellow, we hit that at 356. My goal is to hit it at 4, so that was great. As you hear that, we're just now hitting first crack. And I was right. This was too hot for too long. I'm like 10 seconds ahead of where I want to be. Okay. And because of that, I'm just cooling it down a little bit more, taking the gas down by here. And then with fan, I'm measuring pressure, how much pressure is in here, and that's what this gauge is here. And I want to make sure when I hit first crack, I'm gonna be around 10, whatever those pounds, I don't even know.
Sure.
And then there's a lot I'm looking at. A lot of times here, I'm looking at these percentages up here, because that tells me how long I'm in each phase. Okay. So this is what they call the, God, why am I forgetting? Development phase. For a medium roast, I want that to hit 20%. Light roast is 12. I'm giving away all my secrets today. Good luck. But I think I'll do a medium. Why not? We'll go all the way. And I'm slowly turning up the fan. Cool part is when you turn up the fan, it impacts the environmental temp a lot. You're moving stuff around, so it helps. Sure. And the farther apart the green and the orange lines are, the more they want to get together, be together. So it's an elastic relationship. Okay. So that's why this will check mark up real quick, and you'll slowly see this dive down the closer it gets to the orange line. And it's always going to finish, because I've done this so often, I know it. I'm going to finish this right at 400 degrees, and it'll be right at 20%. Okay. At the top. Should be. At least pretty close. So this finished a little quick, but because I kind of wanted to be closer to 9 minutes, but I mean this will be okay.
I mean, you pretty much nailed it though. 400.3 at 20% right before it rolled to 21.
Yeah, I just got there a little quick.
Pretty fucking good.
But hey, this is good. You will never know the difference between that and me hitting that at 9 minutes. I can, but only if I went and I cupped it like right now.
Right, sure.
So yeah. That's a roast. And then I'm literally go back to heating this up. And it gets really hot in here and I have to turn on the AC.
I bet it gets hot, especially in the summer.
Oh God, especially with
the other day.
In here.
Yeah, the other day it was almost 100 outside, and I'm in here. It's like 84, and I'm like, oh, it's so hot. Yeah. And the AC's blaring, and it's not doing anything. It's just so hot in here. But yeah,
that's cool, man. I'm like a fucking nerd, so I like all the like the sciencey shit you're using. Like that's super cool to me. I just like being able. I just like when somebody gives a shit enough about their craft that like they've kind of worked out all the variables. Like, okay, when I see this result, what do I need to do to impact that, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool because I'm sure there's, if we were to go to a whole bunch of different coffee brewers, I'm sure there's a lot of old school guys that are like, I've been doing this for 30 years. You put it at 400 degrees, you wait 8 minutes, and you pull it out. You know what I mean? And, and at the end of the day, that still makes coffee. I'm sure it's fine.
If it tastes good, you got nothing wrong.
Boom.
The only reason I want to do this is because, so if you see, I just put up a chart. I roast like this. This is one of my favorite light roasts I've ever done. I get to copy that every day.
Right. That's
as best as I can. And so it makes it really consistent. And that's why people are switching to this nowadays. Whereas you could be the old guy and say, hey, put it at 400 degrees. But like, dude, if I know how much the machine changes throughout the day, I can't imagine the drastics. And a lot of people that start roasting, like a lot of people assume I roast at home. They think I roast on a grill because they can get attachments.
Or like a baking sheet or something.
Yeah, literally.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's actually pretty high tech. Like there's a lot of variables I'm trying to control. But yeah, a whole lot. But
I dig it, man. That's cool.
It looks complicated, but I mean, it's a pretty quick process.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how fast that kind of went.
Yep.
From
it's pretty quick.
Yeah,
bucket to popping it out there. Especially, you've got it all dialed in now, and it's really cool to see how you're taking everything and making that roast come out.
Right. When I was talking to Mill City, who makes this roaster, I was talking to their rep. Kind of a nerd out moment for me, geek out moment.
Yeah.
Because when I order this and it gets here, I get a FaceTime call with one of their head guys, and
to
they
help
me
set it up.
Yep, and they go through the first seasoning roast and all that jazz. The guy that calls me is the guy that's the head of their YouTube channel, and I'm like fanboy.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I'm like, oh my god, you know?
sick.
He's like, oh yeah, I forgot I'm on YouTube. I'm like, how do you forget, dude? But he was pretty surprised on how much I knew, which kind of like. That
it was a little validated.
Yes, because the roasting world is super weird for me because, like I said, most of the time I try to do as much research as I can. But with roasting, I threw that away and I went, I'm just literally going to figure it out. Like I want to figure this out on my own.
Well, I mean, you can, with anything that's an intricacy with a lot of variables, you can read all you want, watch all you want until you're hands-on and you understand what you're reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so different.
Yeah. And so before I bought this, for example, I bought two of those little roasters, doing 5 ounces at a time, which meant getting one bag. I had to do 2 roasts to get 1 bag of coffee.
Yeah.
I was roasting so much.
Are those little ones still like an 6-8 minute turnaround, or
a little bit,
they're smaller,
a little bit longer, tiny bit, like 2 minutes longer for like the medium roast? Still tasted great, but just not as consistent. Dude, I was fighting those things. Fight for my life. I mean, literally, like if it was. I remember, like, if it was 65 degrees in here, good luck. It ain't hot enough.
Really?
I have to have the room be hotter just to help those little machines. Like, it just wouldn't do it.
Wow.
Like, it couldn't. I would literally have, during certain parts of the roast, I would have the fans up all the way because of what I needed.
Trying to assist.
Yeah, and it barely enough. And I was running 2 of those at the same time, and you see how smooth that dark line is.
Yeah.
The best I could ever do. This is beautiful for me. Like this machine's amazing. Really, because the sheer mass helps that line out. But on those little ones, the best line I could get.
Well, plus like this seems way more insulated than probably what the little ones were.
Yeah, it was just like
dying.
tin. It was like tin.
Yeah.
Open drum. But like the little ones, it was literally like this. That's the best I could do. But it was consistent.
Sure.
You know. But it still tasted great. That's how I built the company off that. But but I roasted literally. I think I did thousands. I have them documented because I saved every roast I did on those little things. Thousands. So by the time I got to this guy,
How long you been rocking this?
this would be like year 2.
Okay.
By the time I got this guy, I knew exactly what
the beans want.
The only thing was, because on those little roasters, you gotta understand, it's completely different controls. This is foreign. This is like a different language to me. All I had was a computer. It ran off a computer, and all I had was fan up 1, heat up 1, because they ran on little burners. And that's all I had. On here, they're like, what pressure is that at? You know, how many, your pressure gauge for your gas, what's that at? That's gonna determine, and then nothing's sound either. So you have to dial in, I it's out there. You have to dial in the machine and know what it's at. So for example, my air is just under 30. That's considered low. 10 is not low. That's like off. You know, high, really high is well, I read it on the pressure gauge. I don't even read these numbers. It's 15, which is, what is that? Maybe 60, just under 60.
I feel like that statistical discrepancy is very common in industrial shit. You know?
Yeah, but you have the way you dial in to know where your fan world is going to be at is hilarious. I wish I had my lighter here. What you have to do is you have to pull this guy out, and then you take a lighter, and I would light the lighter right here, and low would barely pull the flame in. Medium would be a little more bent. High, it's a sharp 90 degree on the flame of the lighter. And that's how you dial in that.
Interesting.
The drum speed, which that's the other thing that you don't have on the little ones, is the drum speed.
It's just one speed on the cheap little one.
You just turn it on. This guy, I have that's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
And the way you dial that in is you turn on the timer and you count 15 rotations, and you want it to take 15 seconds, 1 second per rotation. Okay. And you dial it in based on that. And so, it's just like a lot of little things.
Yeah.
The pressure is crazy because a lot of that's dependent on the pressure coming from the...
What size valve you have, what size piping, all that stuff.
Yep, and so I learned what, and honestly...
Back pressure system. Yeah.
Sometimes it changes. Sometimes it's like, I'm missing like a bar. I'm like, today I'm a bar lower, just from the pressure coming from the city or whatever.
Yeah, temperature outside.
Yeah, whatever the heck's going on there. I don't know if that's normal, but I work with it. But, yeah, everything... There's so completely different than the little tiny machines where it's just on-off, basically. And so that was the biggest hump I had to jump to go be like, okay, how does this machine handle? And it's so much more heat. Leaving this on high, like on the little machines, I would literally roast almost the entire roast with the burners on all the way.
Yeah.
Why? Because turn those burners on, it takes 15 seconds for them to actually heat up.
Right.
And 15 seconds is a long time. In this
when you're playing with a 6 to 8 minute window, that's a lot.
I would have to learn how to tell the future. I would put the beans in and go, if I don't turn the burners on here, right here is going to look real bad.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows what I'm going to do? This is different though. I can fix mistakes on here. I can go, I dropped the beans in too cold. Well, I know how to fix that, and that's not going to hurt the bean. Like I can work with that. A little more hands-on for that moment, but we can save this. So I absolutely, absolutely love this machine. I'm excited to get a bigger one even. I can't imagine how much output.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
With that, but yeah. So these are just cooling down. It's in attached to a fan that just pulls air down through. You can even feel a little bit. It's just cooler. That's all. But it's just spinning them.
How long do you usually keep them in the?
I keep them in here to feel. When it's cool, you can feel them now. I can pull those out.
It's like a room temp type of thing? Or?
Yeah. As long as it ain't literally cooking still.
Sure.
And so usually in the middle of the next roast, actually it's usually by the time I hit this phase, I'm like ready to dump this out. And then I just pull my handy dandy cart over here. Get a smell of that. And it explodes. And we're off to the races.
Oh, that smells so good. Sweet.
How hard was the process of finding a farm or the source where you're like, I want organic, I'm assuming you did a bunch of research. You're like, I kind of want to aim towards this type of bean from this type of place. How hard is it? Right. Is it just a website? Or is it kind of hard to get a hold of the little family in Honduras to be like, yo, can you send me a bucket of beans, brother?
Exactly. So there's a couple things there. First of all, for me it was pretty easy because I like the coffee so much that I tried for the first time ever for my landlord when he roasted his
You're like, where'd you get this?
That I was literally like, what is this? So he's like, it's Mexican Chiapas, organic. And I'm like, sweet. So that's the bean I'm going to use. So you can go out on my board out there and see some of which I have a big cork board out there if you saw walking in. Those are all the different orders I've done over the years for different farms. Some are multiple from the same farm, but a lot of it, the first oldest ones are Mexican Chiapas, and so I would order from there. That was back when I was ordering just 65 pounds at a time, or a little bit more than that. And those are
just 65 pounds.
I'm doing like
65. I was gonna say, what do you order now? Because 65 pounds sounds like a lot of fucking coffee.
I have 1,500 pounds coming in a couple days.
Damn. All right.
Wow.
Where are you gonna put all that shit?
Great question. I don't really know. It'd be the most I've ever ordered, but I can usually stack a few over in the corner under the tables.
Buckets? Oh, these boxes. Okay.
Wow.
So these are.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least they're stackable.
They are totally
Yeah,
stackable.
it's not like a bag. You're like,
Oh god, that's awesome. What do you do with this? And so I ordered those, of course, the Chiapas first, and I loved them. But to be honest, what happened was I was ordering so little. I knew there was such thing as a season for the region that you're buying from.
Sure.
And I kept hearing like, oh, you gotta make sure you have either enough of that or a backup bean. And I'm like, I don't know, like I have enough beans. And all of a sudden, like Mexico is like producing nothing, and I needed beans. And I'm like, so that's the other part of the story. Through working with Papa Kurt Salsa, part of my job as a manager is I was researching every living thing, everything from like, where can we get tomatoes?
Sure.
Where can we get the best price on the tubs, the stickers, the labels, everything? And I'm like, with that amount of years, 5+ years I spent researching that stuff, I learned how to find...
like navigate, yeah.
Yeah, and
I've
so
been there.
I found a company called Genuine Origin. Their name's all over these boxes. They're the only company I found first that would actually give me prices on beans without having to have a crazy like
huge order or some shit.
or talk to someone, which I was fine doing, but I'm like,
Right.
I want to order now, and I don't want to have to wait in your queue and be like,
Right.
oh, you're only going to order one box, you know. So, and plus when I shopped around, their prices were like, if not comparable, cheaper than most of the places that I would have to like call a rep. They're going to call their guy on the coast,
Right,
and be like, oh, yeah, we got this in stock this year, whatever. And so,
when you saw they were affordable, that make you nervous? Because I'm somebody
right.
who I'm like, organic and you're cheaper? What the fuck's up?
Yeah. So I was pretty nervous but they had so many beans. So one of the ways I compared as well is you can look it up. People that buy coffee at home to roast, most of the time they're buying it off of a website either called Coffee Bean Corral or Sweet Maria's Coffee. There's only a few green coffees available. Most, I say a few, there's quite a bit, but compared to like what I'm allowed to be able to get now. But their beans, their prices back then was like, we're talking like 8, 9, maybe 5 at the cheapest dollars a pound, which is insane.
Yeah.
At that time back then for me to buy, like that's a lot of money. Doing the math in my head on like what I have to mark my product up to, I'm like,
what's the minimum order? Like 50 pounds?
Well, for those websites, that's where I knew I wasn't looking at the right place because the maximum order was a pound.
Oh.
Damn.
Right. So that's what I mean by that.
So this is like in your kitchen.
That's exactly. But that's what most people go to.
Right.
Because that's the most popular companies, and that's where I bought my even first little roasters from.
Yeah.
But then I found these guys, and they kept popping up every time I'm looking through everything, and their price at the time for the Chiapas compared to that $6-7, it was like $3.65 a pound.
Oh shit!
But their minimum order was
Right.
65 pounds.
Right.
And I'm like, but that's doable because we're only talking like what 300 bucks, something like that. And I'm like totally doable. And so ordered away and fell in love with the people. Found out they have like they have a huge warehouse in like Portland, and so it made life easy for me. So like even the 1,500 pounds I ordered that yesterday. It'll probably be here in the next couple days.
That's
like
cool.
It's that quick.
That's cool.
And so I love them, and I've shopped around before to be like, hey, what if I'm not getting a good price?
Right. What if I'm stuck on the first thing I found?
Yeah. Right. And they're like the only ones. Yeah. There's a quick story. So I got a contact for someone down in, oh my god, I can't remember where. South America somewhere.
Sure.
And they had a farm and everything, beautiful farm, looked amazing, and they had a special type of bean, the strand. It's called a bourbon. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want a sample, so they're going to send me free samples. We were talking a lot because I'm like, this is going to be crazy if I can get a farm.
Yeah,
I can cut out the middleman, right?
Absolutely.
And sure enough, though, I tasted it. I actually didn't like it. Which hurt my heart because I was like, I thought.
Right, you're excited. You build it up in your head. You're like, oh man.
And I'm like, well, I don't care because I'm like, it is still great coffee, but just compared to what I have,
sure.
I'm like, if it's so much cheaper though, I'll buy that and use that as like my cheap bean, right? And then sell it for cheaper on the shelves and everything. So I asked them for the price, and it was good. It was great. It was like $1 cheaper than what I could ever get. But then I ran into a snag. They're like, okay, who's your importer? I'm like, well, I normally just buy coffee from
the United States of America. Don't worry about
it. Gold, that's too important. Freedom. So I told them, here's who I order coffee from. I'm like, oh great, they're importers, so just contact your reps at Genuine Origin, and they'll put the coffee on the ships.
But then now you have a middleman again.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Except for it would have still been able to keep the same price. I would have had to have filled a shipping crate though.
Oh.
A whole container.
Fuck.
Yeah. And I'm like,
for a coffee that you were gonna be like, this is my B coffee.
Yeah, and I'm like, nope, not happening.
Yeah.
But I realized I sidetracked because you're wondering how did I get to this bean. Like I said, Mexico ran out, and I looked on a map and literally went, Honduras makes coffee and is literally less than 100 miles away from Chiapas. So I ordered it, and it was organic, and it was actually a little bit cheaper too at the time than the Chiapas, and it was way better. And I was like, oh my god.
Hell yeah.
And then my rep told me all the special things Honduras was doing, why the beans were cheaper, and why it's better than it used to be, because it used to be awful. But and so I stuck with them, and honestly, I don't want to go away. I mean, it helps that I have my labels, literally have the farm on it and everything, and I'm like, I can't switch. Yeah. But man, coffee prices, you want to talk about something that's crazy, is coffee prices.
I was just going to ask, as you were kind of explaining all that, like, how volatile is the market for greens?
Usually never. Usually it's
pretty
like
stable.
Yeah, actually, if you look at a 75-year chart, it just does this.
Okay.
Doesn't do anything.
Okay.
But those highs and lows, that's over 5 years each, up, down. That's a 5-year gap. So it doesn't feel bad. But this year is special. This is the highest it's ever been in the history of coffee ever.
Due to what?
Believe it or not, it's not because of the tariffs.
I mean, I didn't really think so.
Right,
being coffee.
Right. The only time you'll see the tariffs effect is when roasters feel like it could. So the roasters will raise their price. That's different. But
because that's like the finished product going out. So like, fuck, we might get hit.
Yeah. So what brought it up originally was back in 24. So it started then, and everyone that's in the industry knew like what was coming. Brazil and I want to say Costa Rica. If I remember right, both those countries had some of the worst weather ever.
It's probably the Paul brothers' fault, to be honest. Since they moved down there, it's went to shit.
Had to be. You're right. And they lost all their crop.
Damn.
And they supplied 70%.
70%
of the coffee industry.
Damn.
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah. So we all saw it coming in December of 24. We're like, okay, we're gonna see what does 25 look like? Because all of a sudden, all the small farms are going. They're gonna have people contact them going, I need 50,000 pounds. And it's like, hello.
They're like, ¿qué?
Really? But and so or more, I don't even know. Sure. And so usually what they'll do is just be like, hey, can we have a contract and we'll just take your entire farm. But we just didn't know what that was gonna look like. Who's going to have to make up gains, and that's when China actually stepped in. China literally got rid of their cocoa plants, which I didn't even know they had cocoa in the first place, and then they started planting coffee because they saw the huge shortage.
Sure.
And so that was also awesome because I'm like, sweet, China's getting in the game, which is going to help out everyone else that actually makes good coffee.
Sure. Yeah.
And Starbucks is going to go that way.
Of course.
And I'm like, so it leaves more coffee for the rest of us.
Right.
And so of course the prices went absolutely to the moon. When I first started roasting, I was buying for $3.75 a pound, and then just the order I just did with a hella huge discount, fat discount, I paid $5.60 a pound.
That adds up fast.
Yeah.
Damn.
Decaf is a whole different world.
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up.
Here we go.
What the fuck is decaf? I mean, I obviously know what decaf is. What is that process? Because it still starts with coffee beans, and then you roast it, I'm assuming.
Usually it involves a lot of holy water and... I'm just kidding. But, no, it's close. No, It's actually a special chemical process. No, I say chemical. There is a way to do it with chemicals, but they're trying not to do that. Over where it's sourced from. They go through, I like to do water wash process. You've probably heard of that term. Basically, it uses hot water, maybe not quite boiling water, because otherwise it would actually literally roast the beans. Right. So what they do is the beans are going to go in the hot water, and what they're going to do is they're going to let it sit in there for a certain amount of time. I think they add an agent of some sort, just a natural thing, nothing like chemical. But what it does is it pulls out percentages of the caffeine. Not all of it. Decaf is not 100% decaf. But they're going to pull out to the threshold that's allowed to be decaf. And then what they do is you could watch videos on it, but they boil it, they pull out the beans, they take that solution they have, which they know has the flavor in it too now, right?
And then they make like an extract out of that.
Yep, and then introduce it back to the bean as best as they can.
Interesting.
And then those are the higher end processes.
So you have to get decaf beans before you get them in your process.
Okay.
So I always figured it was something like you roast them and then you like soak them in water for a week or some bullshit, you know?
Right. So sorry.
As long as you're sorry about it.
Decaf is weird. My decaf tastes awesome. I actually can totally drink it and not know.
If you drink decaf, you're an absolute weirdo, and I don't want to be friends with you. And I say that knowing one specific person is going to see this video.
It's just broken coffee. That's all it is.
Broken coffee.
But this stuff is really weird. Roasting it, I hate how it smells. I hate everything about it.
Well, I mean, it's like completely a different...
Yeah. So you know what that looked like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open this.
Okay.
You're going to see it, and then I want you to smell it.
Okay.
No chemicals, by the way.
It's just like full of cat shit or something.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me.
Actual litter.
Whoa. Okay.
And then smell that.
It smells like a... fuck. There's like one of those things that happens in life where like you get a smell of something and then like there's a nostalgia click in your brain, but I can't put my finger on it.
To me, it reminds me of the medical industry for some reason. I don't know why.
I can't think of what it is, but... it is kind of like hand sanitizer-y or like something, yeah.
Not trying to knock on products. This is just what decaf is.
No. I'm sure that's just part of the process for sure. Way different looking bean.
Yeah, I can
let's pull that one back open. I mean, night and day. Like that. Like this is called green coffee, obviously, and it looks like it. That looks partially roasted, and this isn't roasted. This is just whatever that washing process is.
When it's done roasting, it looks identical to my
standard.
Standard bean.
That's wild.
Yeah. It roasts different, obviously. It's really hard to roast decaf, so it's a big misconception. I feel like everyone thinks of decaf. It's kind of the cut corner coffee. Right. When you roast, and you guys will see this here in a minute, and I can start heating up the machine. With a normal coffee, when you hit about light roast territory, you hit what they call first crack, and the beans will start cracking. And it sounds like popcorn. It's exactly like popcorn. And then when you hit dark roast territory, there'll be a gap, and then you'll hear a second crack that sounds like snapping toothpicks. That's when it gets really dark. I mean, you're really roasting a lot.
So this has been something that I've had misconceptions about, and I don't remember as I'm about to ask. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to watch this that are also like, yeah, how's that work? Dark roast versus a light roast.
Yeah.
More caffeine, less caffeine, which end of the spectrum gives you what? Because I've heard both. I've heard like, the darker roast you get way less because it's overcooked. But then I've heard, darker roast means it's more bold and you get more.
Yeah.
How's that work?
So 2 levels. One, I would always say the light roast would have more caffeine. But in 23, they had I think Berkeley did a study and found there was no difference between a dark and light roast. Yeah. The only difference.
You gotta love science.
Right. The only difference is depending on where you got the bean from. So
like the chemical compound of the bean itself.
Yep, those have drastic different caffeine content.
So at the end of the day, just like at the end, like you said it earlier, and I don't think we were filming yet, but like at the end of the day, the most important thing about coffee is the way it tastes and how much you like it.
Yep.
So when it comes to dark and light roast, if that's kind of been the most recent kind of like study and information, that means at the end of the day, find the one you like, drink that.
Brewing it is going to change how much caffeine it has as well, because it really depends on how much coffee you're using. Of course, espresso, pretty gnarly, just because it's ground so fine, you're using a lot more beans, then you're getting a lot of, because of what espresso is, it's completely different than what we just did.
Yeah, sure.
They're actually like pressing, like high pressure, you're getting all of the bean. It's technically the least healthy way to drink coffee as well, just because you're getting all the oils you don't want in your coffee as well. But we're pulling hairs now.
Sure.
But really depends on how you're brewing it and what you're doing.
Okay.
Because you can get more caffeine in cold brew, just because of the sheer mass of how much coffee it is. It's concentrated when I make it, and then I dilute it from there. So, I learned through just sheer determination that I'm like, no one's starting their own product manufacturing company in Roseburg. Like, no one's doing that. Like, maybe beer. Yes, that's about it. Sure. But and I'm like, no one's selling like products. Yeah. Like daily consumables. And so I just went, why is no one doing it? I'm like, all you have to do is ask questions. So what I would do, and some of the biggest learning I ever did, is I'm like, well, I'm going to get into Albertsons and Safeway. This was a couple of years ago. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. So I went to the stores. What do you do?
Are you in Albertsons now?
Nope. Thankfully, right? Did you see that Target sign they put up there?
Yes, I did.
That
That's
was awesome.
fucking hilarious.
That pissed a lot of people off.
Well, I mean, how dumb are you? As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, one, it's April 1st. Two, like, we're way too small for a Target. They're never gonna, that's not real at all.
Right. So, but, you know, I'm just like, there's only one way I can learn how to get into these stores, and that's to try to get into them.
And just get in there and see how it feels and how it works.
Yeah, the worst they're going to do is say no. Like, what
and then I'm in the same boat that I'm in now.
Yeah, right? Nothing changed. And so, you know, first you try by just going into the store, and they're like, I don't know.
I don't even know who you talk to.
Yeah,
I just fucking put lettuce on the shelf.
Yeah, and they're like, just go online. So I go online, apply, and actually I ended up getting a phone call from the head buyer of coffee and tea over all of Albertsons and Safeway for the Americas.
Holy shit. Okay.
And I was like, now I'll be honest, this guy, let's just say, to him, clouds are brown. Because his head's so now, but to be honest, so on the other side, because he really knew himself real well, you know, I was talking to someone that's been in the industry and like knows he's a buyer. And you know, he was like, well, I'll tell you right now, he's like, we're not going to buy your stuff. And he goes, because we have about 1,000 roasters that apply to get in a year, and we only accept one. And I'm like,
Jesus,
that's
nice. A ratio.
Yeah, right. He goes, we just got Black Rifle Coffee, and have you heard of them? I'm like, yeah, it took you that long. I'd say,
yeah, what? Yeah, they came out in like 13.
Yeah, and you have to be that big. But I'm like, okay, but what he did though, and I'll give him this credit. He said, the reason why I'm calling you, and he goes, people say I should never waste my time with small guys like you, and even call you. And he goes, but
you're like, thanks.
He's like, yeah, thank you for calling me. He's like, but small roasters is what keeps the integrity of the coffee industry even valid.
Sure, yeah.
Because otherwise it'd be ruled by Starbucks and Pete's Coffee and those big guys, right? And he goes, but you small guys is actually what makes coffee matter. And he goes, so I'm going to call, and he's like, I'm talking to you because I want to figure out what you're about. And he goes, and I want to critique, and hopefully you'll listen and take criticism. I'm like, hit me with it. As tears are like,
yeah.
So the biggest thing I learned is he was like, first of all, I'm looking at your bags online. And he goes, it looks rad. He goes, problem is I would have never guessed you were from Oregon. He goes, I thought you would have been like from Florida.
Like Miami or something.
Yeah, right? And he goes, and he's like, biggest thing is he was like, why the hell would I buy your coffee? Looking at your bag. He goes, why? It just, at the time, I had no roast names or anything.
Sure.
I just had medium, light, dark. And he was like, cool. It says medium roast. So what? Like, what would I do with this? He goes, why would I buy it next, basically? And I'm like, okay. And he goes, he's like, your brand has to have a purpose. And people are either going to buy in to a cause or buy into a purpose. And he goes, so you either are a coffee company that their branding is, we support, a big one is women workers in Uganda or whatever. You know, they use all women farms. Like, that's a big thing. And or they use a specific farm that used to be poppy fields, and now it's just coffee, you know, big turnaround. And so there's a big industry, non-profit practically, behind the coffee that pushes the brand. That says, hey, this is who we are, so we do.
Black Rifle, veterans.
Yep, veterans, he named that. He said, perfect. And he goes, or you're such a specialty roaster that you're like, I
can only get it from this guy.
Yeah, XYZ, I do this, our coffee is clearly this. And he's like, what are you? I don't even know who you are. And so it was awesome that he asked those questions, because those are questions I needed to ask myself.
Sure.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Who am I?
Real talk. On my bag, how do I communicate to my customer that you buy this? Besides it looking cool, which was all I had, which was rad. It got me pretty far.
Yeah.
You know, just to look cool.
Yeah.
But it really got me to sit down and go, like, how do I communicate my purpose of the company? And then what is the purpose of the company? Like the goal can't be just to make money. That's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like, the byproduct.
And consumers don't give a fuck about that.
Right. And like, the byproduct will be me making money, but that's not what sells the company. Me just wanting to make money. And so I had to sit down with my graphics guys actually for a long time, and we talked a lot about purpose and why I'm doing what I'm doing. That way we can translate that into a label. And the biggest thing was connection and oneness. That's like my theme, to where it's like, what is coffee to me? Well, coffee is kind of this magical drink that no matter what time of day, really, especially if you do decaf, I guess.
Yeah.
It's always around this idea of either waking up in the morning and you're going to kind of collect yourself, or you're sitting down with another person to intentionally have a conversation. Like, that's just like the theme of coffee has so much relationality to it that it's purely based around relationship. Like that's what coffee is based around.
Whether it's personal or a social thing.
Exactly. And I realized that, like, hey, if you are going to go do a social thing, let's say I'm going to go, morning coffee with a friend, right? And I want to spend some time with a friend I haven't seen in a long time at a coffee place. And I go to that coffee place and the coffee is garbage.
Yeah. It takes away from that social experience.
It takes away from it. Yeah. But if I can have a good experience, a good coffee, then it can only help that experience. It really, and same with at home. I want that at home as well for everyone as well. I don't want someone to go home and be like, well, I'm just going to have my whatever this is.
Right,
I want people to actually enjoy their morning. And if coffee is a part of that, then it is. Mm-hmm. Coffee is only a drink at the end of the day.
I mean, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, brother. Don't drink Folgers. That's just my grandpa. We were talking about cold brew.
Yes.
My question was, cold brew is actually brewed with cold water.
Yep.
And then how long did it take to dial in? Because obviously with heat, you're extracting more everything much quicker.
Yep.
So how much trial and error was there between like my first batch of cold brew and like, is it an hour? Is it overnight? Is it, how cold does the water start? How long did it take to figure that out?
Right. Well, I looked up online on some people that were actually making big batch like mine, cold brew. And I kind of just followed their recipe, except for they were using a darker coffee. And so I just went, well, I know I'm going to use lighter coffee. So I adjusted for that a little bit. I waited 16 hours like they said, and it just sits in the room like this with the lid on and all that stuff. And I tie up the bag. And then it's finished, and then I do the dilution ratio, which that was probably the only part I had to dial in a little bit, was because I wanted it.
What is dilution ratio? What is
so when I'm done brewing and I pull out the bag and everything, and I end up with around 20 quarts, whatever, maybe 22 of water, it's really concentrate. I mean, that stuff will make you.
You can't just pour that over ice.
I mean, you can. Okay. But it's not the most drinkable, so I need to dilute it a lot. And so so for example, if I have 12 quarts of cold brew in here, I'm going to add 6 quarts of water.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's a lot.
Okay.
And that gives me a lot of coffee, though.
Sure.
Awesome.
A lot of return.
Yeah, sometimes I forgot to as well. That didn't turn out too well. And so I dilute it, and so learning that ratio, that I think I call it like a 0.5, I don't know what you call it, but ratio, that was going to be about close enough to where it's going to make it super drinkable. It tastes really good, not bitter. And that 16 hours was perfect, first try, actually. And then by accident, because 16 hours is an odd amount of time, obviously, it's going to have to sit overnight. I forgot before. And I went,
and also it's 20 hours?
Yeah. I went, oh no, it was like over 24. It hit like almost 24 on the dot when I got here, and I'm thinking, I just ruined this. Like, it's, I have big clients that use a lot of cold brew, and so I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do to save this. And so I did my thing, and I tasted it, and it tasted even better. It was like perfect. And I'm like, I guess 24 is the way to go, And so I've been doing 24 hours lately.
Okay.
On those. I think that works because it's a light roast.
Sure.
I'm certain
takes a little longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm certain if it was a medium roast or darker, it would be a lot quicker. Also, room temp changes. There's different ways to do cold brew. Some people, if you're going to use a dark roast, I would actually recommend brewing it in a fridge because you're going to slow it down, right, a little bit to keep it from just getting. If it's hot in here, that's going to change how quick it brews. And so, so that's how I do it. And then it's just a lot of process of getting the beans out, cleaning the filters. Throw away a lot of ground coffee.
Yeah. How many batches? So how many of these bins? You said you have 2 of the full-size filters.
Yep, so I'll do 2 at a time.
2 batches at a time?
Yep, and that'll get me... and then I fill up, as you saw, the white barrels with the cold brewer. And so I filter it after that because I learned there's a lot of methods to keep... I'm bottling it as well, so it has to be sanitary, it has to be safe and clean and make sure nothing's getting in there because I'm messing with those cloth filters. There's a chance a ground could end up in it, so I want to filter it. So I have mesh filters that I put over the top of the white buckets, and I'm pouring after it's diluted. This is full, like up to here, and I'm pouring that into the white over the mesh filter.
The finished container.
Yep, into the finished container where it'll be airtight, and then I'll get to either bottle it or sell it as the full container that I do to a lot of places. And like Java Run, they go through. Right now they're going through around I think 16 gallons every week.
Damn.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then I have some other places that buy full gallons. Bumble and Bean buys, and that's 4 gallons. So they'll buy 4 gallons. A couple other places do as well at a time, which is easier than bottling it. I'm glad they do it.
What's your bottling Are you bottling in this room as well?
This thing right here. It's really good, pretty much right at it.
Does it do 1 bottle at a time?
It does. So I'll basically have all my bottles lined up here, and it's automatic. So, like, and it runs off of time, and so I just hit auto, and I have like a 1.29 second delay time in between bottles.
So it doesn't just start pumping. Right. Yeah.
And so it just fills a bottle. I move it, fill a bottle, and just put the lid on. Mm-hmm. Call it a day. Yep, and I got bottles in here.
Okay. You guys have seen this on the show. We did a review of these. These are fantastic, by the way. Big fan of these. I think I said it earlier. I'm pretty picky with coffee. Not that I'm like a coffee snob, but if it's not good to me, like if I don't like it, I'm not like most people where I'll struggle through it. I'll throw it away. I won't drink it. Like coffee has to be good. So this was a pleasant surprise. When we did this on the show, I hadn't even heard of your stuff yet. So when Justin was like, "Yo, this is brewed in Roseburg. This is like a local thing." We love local businesses. Like that's our whole fucking thing. That's the whole reason we do half of what this show is. That's our tagline, you know. So it was like, man, I think I even said it in the episode, like, fuck, I want this to be good so bad. I don't want to have to say shitty things about a local brewery. Fantastic, bro. I absolutely love this stuff.
Yeah. What's your distribution reach with those?
With those, right now it's pretty small because I launched it late last year in the middle of summer. So by the time I get to try to push it, it was like ending summer, into fall.
Kind of the cold drink thing was dying off.
And I'm like, well, I had a solid push. And so right now it's Java Run, it's at Sherm's, McClendon's, B&D Meats, River Forks Market, Bumble and Bean, of course the normal places.
I mean, it's on topic because it has to do with coffee. But it's off topic because it doesn't really have to do with what we're necessarily talking about. But I don't get a lot of chances to talk with somebody who knows shit about coffee. I moved in with somebody for a very short period of time. I rented a room from them like a year and a half ago while I was like looking for a new place. As I'm getting the like tour of the house, they're like, "Oh, this is the kitchen, blah, blah." And they have like a Keurig and then like just a drip coffee fucking thing. And he opens it and he goes, "This is where you keep all the coffee stuff. You're welcome to use any of it except for that bag. Never touch that bag." And I'm like, "Oh shit, is that some like nuclear grade coffee? Like what the fuck, why? What are we talking about, What is your opinion on that like cat shit coffee stuff? Where they feed beans to those fucking little cats and then they poop it out, because that shit is fuck off expensive.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I mean, I like Googled it and I'm just like, I feel like this is just a super gimmick and you're paying a bunch of money for cat poop.
Yeah.
Because that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, there's multiple aspects to that. First of all, it's flat out marketing scam.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Now, do they make that coffee? Unfortunately, they do. And it's worse than you think because it got popular through media and stuff. Now those countries that have those types of cats, they actually now are capturing the cats. They put them in cages that are like literally barely big enough to hold them, and force feed them coffee all day, and then just collect their poop.
That's
and
wild.
Then they sell that crap.
Or
you're buying stuff that says it is and it ain't.
And it ain't, right? And that was my first reaction was like, is it really though? And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit, it is real.
Yeah.
But like, why? Because I don't remember how much it was, but it was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
It's complete marketing scam, awful every way around. Like think about it. The process I told you about the raw beans and how they dry it and all that stuff. They're just doing that, but through the digestive system of an animal. And it's like, how could that be better? How
does it come out the other end and it still even be fully coffee? Like after all the digestive enzymes
I wouldn't have wanted to drink it.
And all the,
I wouldn't want to roast it.
No.
Get alone drink it. Who's roasting it? That's my question. Who's actually like buying that?
They're definitely wearing masks in that place. You know what I'm talking about. They all got those little Christmas tree air fresheners around their necks.
It's like roasted in a fully sanitary room too.
It's just like all white. The whole floor is like a litter box. They just got
gross. Oh my god.
Yeah. Sorry, that was super off topic, but
I do it with deer. Start feeding deer.
Oh yeah.
Use a little pellet.
Oregon homemade. Yeah. I should do that with old coffee.
Whitetail,
well-aged,
blacktail.
Blacktail. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. There's coffee that I had an option to buy too, because Starbucks buys it, but it's called what's it called? Hurricane processed, I think, because I told you the different processes. One of them is they'll lay them out in these boxes on a cliff edge when a hurricane comes through.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my
It's
life.
expensive.
I'm sure it is. How often does a fucking hurricane happen? That is dumb as shit. That can't matter at all.
Does it wash the bean? Yes.
I'm sure it does. At 100 miles an hour. Stupid.
Yeah, I want someone to tell me the taste difference between a hurricane washed bean and a washed bean.
That would actually be a great video of buying like all the gimmicky coffees.
Yeah.
And then having somebody who knows how to brew good coffee to brew them all the exact same way.
We'll have him
so that there's no variation, and then see if like, you could tell like, oh, that is a really good coffee. Thank God it's $100 a bag. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee it's not.
This tastes like Hurricane Irma. What the hell?
Tears and pain. But, like James Hoffman opened up apparently a canister of coffee they found that was made back in, dude, we're talking like 1400, like old. And he was like, apparently, like the marketing he bought on eBay for hundreds of dollars.
Sure.
And he's like, apparently it's supposed to be
like they don't
best.
make it this way anymore.
It's the best. And he's like,
I'm pretty sure
he's looking at it.
He's
like, I can't imagine this ever. So he brewed it. They did a shot, like espresso. The worst way.
Ugh.
And it just went, just like straight through. And he's like, yep, that's coffee. And so he took a sip, and he couldn't hold a straight face.
Oh,
it was so bad. You want to talk about expired?
Oh yeah, that had to be gross, dude. Did he filter through a sock too?
He should have.
God.
But no, cat coffee, that stuff's awful. Mainly because the industry around it is.
I didn't look that much into it, but I assumed anytime that, especially when it's, no offense, but when it's coming from a country that like the general population is not doing well, and there's not a lot of regulations, and if they see a market they can exploit, they're gonna break a lot of, whether it's humanitarian shit or animal shit, like that sucks.
Yeah.
Like that's a major bummer.
Yeah, all marketing. You want to talk about crazy marketing, dude? So when I got into roasting, and I now have like, I literally get emails from my reps to help roasters know what coffee to buy for what season we're in. And so biggest things I learned right away. First of all, like holiday blends, Christmas blends, whatever you want to call those. Those are literally just leftover boxes of beans that are finishing out a season in a warehouse. And they're like, just throw this crap together because it's not a full box. We can't like push it as a product.
Right.
It's literally leftover, sat in the warehouse forever.
Really?
Best, cheapest beans ever. That's what those are. So most of the time, that's marketed to be. Same with like breakfast blends. Everyone's like, oh, do you have like what would you recommend for like a breakfast blend? I'm like, that's really hard to say considering a breakfast blend, I think from the roasters, is whatever they have sitting around. So
isn't all coffee a breakfast blend?
I mean, technically, yeah.
You drink it
But second breakfast.
11 seasons. But the most irritating one to me, the one that's actually lost me business, like commercial business, is an espresso roast. Wrap your head around
What does that even fucking mean?
People, you say that, but I have business owners.
Because espresso is like a way of making the coffee.
Yeah.
It's not the coffee itself.
Yeah. But go to the store right now, and every company has a bean that says espresso roast. Why?
Interesting.
What is that? What is that? You know what espresso roast usually is? Because there's two terms that people get confused. They say espresso roast for the name of the coffee because they roasted that one really dark and strong because they want it to taste like espresso, right?
Okay.
Really
sure.
strong.
Sure.
But that's gotten confused over the years because you have other roasters like Cafeto, the one I was telling you about, part of the lie that locks their customers in town to keep using their coffee.
They're saying like this is for espresso.
They say their beans only really work on their machines.
Oh, what are they, Apple? Get the fuck out of here, dude. I hate proprietary practices. I hate that shit. Hold on, I got a text on my Apple Watch. That's gross.
Right, and then I literally have those owners of those cafes, people that are in the industry saying like, I noticed, because I have all my coffee there, they're like, I noticed you don't do an espresso roast. So what would I use? And I'm like,
whichever one you like.
The medium roast? Like
Yeah.
That's the industry standard.
Sure.
And they're like, well, it's not a blend either. That's the other part. It's not a blend. It's single origin. Like
I mean, blend in general seems like it would be a lesser of a choice. Because to me, just not even in the coffee world at all, just understanding products and company choices. When I hear the word blend, I'm assuming, hey, what do we got left after we did everything? Yeah, throw all that in there.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Right. Most of the time in the coffee world, what people are used to understanding blends as is they take a bunch of different origins that are really good, really flavorful, and they have completely vast different flavors usually, and they put them together, and in your mind you're thinking, hey, I'm going to get this
big
caramel
trip
chocolate
of
wave of flavors. But
Not
to
the
be
case.
honest, like, I've never experienced that. Now, I could be wrong. I'm willing for someone to blow me up in the comments that knows what they're talking about to tell me I'm wrong on blends. But
Okay.
when it comes to brewing, tasting, coffee, flavor notes, all that jazz, the flavor notes you get, first and foremost, is where the bean's grown from. If you take, well, let me continue. So, and then you brew it, the pour over will be completely different than a French press. It'll be completely different than a shot espresso. You'll generally get the flavor, and most people can recognize my coffee now. A lot of people that taste it a lot and go, oh, that's Carter's coffee, I can just tell. And then they're tasting the bean. They know the origin.
Well, especially with you having such a dialed in, like, it's going to be pretty close to the same every time.
But you're telling me if I take an African chocolate caramel flavor bean versus like an Ethiopian strawberry blueberry, and you put them together in a bag, 50-50 blend, and I'm going to brew it, I'm going to taste chocolate caramel blueberry?
No.
Is that realistic?
Right.
What's going to come through? The flavor note that's stronger. You're going to get caramel and chocolate. And what is Ethiopian? It's filler at that point. So, and now that's the other part I learned is that when you do specialty bags, a lot of the places you go buy hey, this is our specialty bean roasters. What they do, this is unfortunate they practice this even. Some don't, a lot don't. I applaud them. They'll actually have their expensive bean in there. But then they have a bunch of others that are dirt cheap just to fill.
To keep the cost down.
To fill the bag. And I'm like, yeah, you're lying.
100%. Yeah.
You know, and it sucks because it hurts the industry, it hurts everything else. But I have not found or even tasted a blend of different origins that actually make a difference. Where I'm sitting there going, like, this is it.
Whoa.
Now here's the deal. I'm certain that's a thing. I'm certain if I spent enough time roasting enough different origins with enough different ratios that I could find the most perfect balanced blend that would beat even my current stuff at single origin. But at what cost? Like, does it really affect things at the end of the day?
And again, 98% of coffee drinkers, they're going to have a one-note choice. Like, I like bitter coffee. That's all I care about. I don't like bitter. Most general people,
at least in Oregon,
are not doing what like people in the coffee world, where you're like, again, like there's probably not a lot of people in town that have tried as many things you have and made it. You know what I mean? Most people are just being a consumer.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I tried that bag once and it wasn't as bitter as the stuff I normally buy. I like that stuff. That's what I buy now.
Yeah. Yep.
That's generally,
And like I said, the problem is the knowledge with the businesses. Because, again, cafes and restaurants I've talked to have actually turned down my product. A, because it doesn't say it's an espresso roast. And B, it's not a blend. They hate single origin. And literally I've had cafe owners that actually know how to make coffee.
Which seems so backwards to me because being somebody not in the coffee world, a lot of times when I see advertisements online, it's like, hey, single origin. It's like their tag thing. It's like a big deal. So it's weird to hear that people are like, came from one place. Get that fucking shit out of here.
It's misconceptions, man. I had a guy that like literally knew what he was doing. Like, he knew how to make a cup of coffee. Some of the best I've ever had. He knew what he was doing. And he was like, he tried mine, he loved it. He goes, it's surprising that it's good for a single origin. Single origins are always bitter. And I'm like, how?
You're like, hold
on. A blend is a bunch of single origins, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But and so all of it's a bunch of misconceptions. And ironically, if you look up, like, if you go research roasters that have, look up all of them. Pete's Coffee, look up smaller ones, Sisters, all of these good guys, look at Cafeto, look at all. They have so many different origins of beans. They have so many different types of beans. Most of them have at least 5 different options for you to choose, either a light, medium, dark, or even darker roast with like 10 different blends and origins and all that jazz. To the consumer that sees that, the average consumer, at least in our demographic, I don't know a single person, and I've never met one besides ones that I now have in the coffee world that are snobs, and I applaud them for actually being educated in that will sit down and go like, oh yeah, I'm going to pick that origin because I know, I prefer African. I've met people that prefer certain regions, but they usually don't know why they do. It's just because they tasted it once and they thought it was good, so they buy
it was better
again.
than the last one I had.
Right?
So that's
Most of my customers, when I switched from Mexican to Honduras, didn't know. Did it taste different? Yes. It did.
Sure.
Absolutely. they thought it was good coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And
now
that's
we know
what
questions
people
to
look for.
ask the next roasters we meet.
What's that?
I said, now we know what to ask the next
Sure.
roasters we meet.
Yeah,
We can tear them apart. We'll just watch this video again and again. All right.
Yeah, I hate talking trash because that's not the type of person I am. But like, once I got into the industry and I realized what I was competing against, I'm like, I'm not even competing against other roasters. I'm not competing against a guy that makes a really good cup of coffee. I'm competing against a guy that managed to lie.
Like marketing.
Yeah.
That's most products. I mean,
Yeah.
marketing can be the downfall, or it could be like, hey, I'm selling a lesser product, or I'm not being honest about my product, but because my marketing clicked.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, I could actually literally increase my sales right now if I took off the roast dates and put things like espresso roast
Right.
and other
Which
crap
means nothing.
on there. I would actually increase sales. I literally would. Because people look for my coffee and they say it doesn't have an espresso. Like, a lot. Like, every week I get that comment. And I love educating them on how that doesn't exist. I'm like, think about it. Like, if you go to Ashley's Furniture and you're going to buy a couch and you look at the manager and you say, hey, I don't see any left-handed couches here. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, oh, you're at the wrong Ashley's. The left-handed Ashley's is down the street.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Sorry, I only got you like 8 ice cubes.
Actually, that's when I go to Dutch Bros, I specifically ask for 8, so that was
Good. There you go.
fucking
Sir.
A, bud.
Yeah, dude.
All right, a little cold brew action. So, I did try. Justin wanted fucking dark hot coffee, so I tried that. It was good. Not my thing though. This is more me. I like cold things, you know. So yeah. What's it? What do we go? We got vanilla,
Vanilla and a little bit of hazelnut.
vanilla, and a little bit of hazelnut.
And of course, half an hour.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Is that
That's
it?
that's what Daddy likes. That's fucking fantastic. That is what's up. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Now I just need to get one of those like Camelbacks, fill one of those up, just
Oh God, yes.
straight in. Dude, you know what I mean?
Just have it stuck to your arm, wrapped around it.
Oh man, I was like, I was on my way to buy an energy drink this morning, and I was like, what am I doing? We're going to film at a fucking coffee place. Like I just am not going to get one. And then I was dying in the car waiting for Justin to get here. Like I have not had caffeine.